Hello, once again, we are gonna do another cast of another match that I found on StarCraft 2 Replayed, this time between CT Forever and Zero One. So I'm gonna call him the One, just because I feel like it. So you do see that they're both Terran, and the major reason why this matchup is kind of unique is due to the fact that they can go for barracks tech or factories, stargates, early banshees, things along these lines, maybe even fast Hellions. It's so open-ended for Terran versus Terran, which makes it a pretty decent mirror matchup to watch. Nothing too fancy from both, but it does seem like Forever will be the first one to build his barracks, start his wall off. Meanwhile, nothing really being made for 0-1. He will put down a barracks eventually a little bit later, and now a fast refinery is up for Forever, so he's going to get that early gas, maybe get some better tech units out there, or go to a fast factory. But that'll be indicative by a second gas if it were to go down. Both of them opting for that early gas as well. Not too surprising, to be honest. This SCV by the One will be checking out periodically to see what is being built, though nothing too fancy and off pace at the moment. The first Marine is going to be trained in there by the by Forever. His Wallen isn't the best, as he can easily move units in there, so that's an interesting thing to note. Meanwhile, the Wallen by 0-1, much better. And he is going to go for his orbital command, get that economy boosted right away. Now this SCV is going to get hunted down by the Marine. However, that SCV does have the ability to escape due to the fact that this is not completely walled off. I wonder if he knows. Oh, that might be why. He was electing to get that tech lab on there. And is going for that fast factory as I had anticipated. Meanwhile, a factory being made by both players because of that early gas. Now the tech lab is now done, and you will see something eventually from that tech lab. He must not have the gas for any sort of upgrade, so instead he will elect to make Marines. In fact, both of them are making Marines, and a second gas going down for one. Meanwhile, Forever is done with his second gas, even building a supply depot behind him to prevent that supply block issue. Now CT Forever is almost done with his factory, and there it goes. And what will he decide to make? Instead, he will add a tech lab on there right away, and a Marauder coming in from that tech lab. Meanwhile, more Marines being made from this barracks. It does give him a slight numbers advantage off the top, and a bunker being made for early defense, so you might see some late tech into something higher along the lines of starports. Meanwhile, an engineering bay is being made by 0-1. And a very late orbital command being made by Forever. I don't know exactly why he is electing to do so much so late, but a missile turret, in fact, going down after that earlier engineering bay. And a tank is also being made, so you'll see a very defensive game here. Definitely not going to show any early signs of aggression, no all-ins along those lines. Even a missile turret going in the middle of his mineral line, most likely to fend off the coming potential of Banshee harassment. However, that isn't going to happen if he has scouted his opponent. A starport will go down, but heavily favored towards these ground units at the time. Very late for getting the starport out, so any sort of rush has been wiped off the playing field. Now you're just going to see a macro game into possible expansions and see possible drops, things along these lines. Tanks for both opponents. It's like they've played against each other before, so they know what the other is doing. Now, Hellions are being made by Forever, so that... Not Forever, for the One, in fact. Sorry, I got the colors mixed up for a second. He's going to get the Hellions out with Siege Tech, so you will be able to see some harassment with those Hellions. However, Wallen was completed with a missile turret. I realize this now. He is going to also get Stimpack researched, and a reactor being made on that starport, so you can assume the fast medevacs as opposed to any sort of attacking unit. Now, an interesting thing to notice that there was a slight supply block issue where no units could be made. Interesting thing to note with that. However, he does manage to get out of that rut and build the 2 Hellions that he had initially planned. Looking at the army size right now, it does seem to be in the favor of the 1. I keep calling it the 1 like it's just Neo. He does have a decent amount of Hellions, and I wonder if he is going to get these medevacs and go for Hellion drops. Does seem like a possible strategy. However, with these missile turrets, it may not be as effective now. Command center is being built, so we will see an expansion by Forever to get himself ahead in the economy. No such thing coming from the 1. In fact, he is going for Infernal Pre-Igniters for that blue flame Hellions, and he will now get that command center. So the timings are well understood. More Vikings being made, and I wonder what he intends to do with these Vikings, if he's hoping to snipe out any of the early air units that may be coming. Siege tanks are in place and a missile turret to protect this expansion that will be coming soon. Meanwhile, the drop isn't coming for 1, so he will bounce back and forth. I don't know why. A little misclick on my part there. So there is a nice mediocre defense, to be honest, for this base, for this expansion, as they are somewhat in close positions. They will not be able to have a very long distance to go for. Meanwhile, this drop is now incoming, and the medevac does have 4 Hellions. He is going to move them close enough to drop them in this area, and a scan has gone down, so he will see the factories, the starport, and the reactor. The Hellions are being dropped, and here they go. How much damage will they do, as no one is truly paying attention to them? He is going to do significant damage to these Hellions. Will the medevacs stay with them, though, in order to drop them when this army does come back to deal with it? Not too much to worry. And 2 of them do get picked off, which you... Oh, however, these Vikings will go ahead and deal with that medevac. It will not escape. Now it'll be interesting to see where they transition into. The expansion is complete. He is going to load up some SCVs, and once his orbital command is complete, he will go ahead and move it on over to his base. Now these Vikings do seem like a good defense against those drops, but so much damage was done. Let's just look at the spending tab. So much more spent by Forever on his units, his defensive Vikings. And if we look at the income tab, you'll see that the harvester number significantly different. That drop was very effective in my opinion.